Not gonna lie, the artificial secret that Chisato has going on took me by surprise, and it definitely raises, I think, the death flags that have been there for a couple of episodes. I think technically you might be able to argue since the beginning, but I think over the last couple of episodes with the building bonds between Takina and Chisato, it's been a matter of which one of them won't make it to the finish line. And I guess you could probably argue that her having this artificial heart seemingly doesn't change anything from having a human heart. It functions the same, seemingly there's no limits, and she is a normal acting person. In fact, you might be able to argue she's better than a normal person given her almost supernatural bullet dodging that she can do to get up close and personal to finish the kill. Just for her, obviously it's a knockout. But it almost feels to me, because it's artificial, it raises the question, the person who put it in, is there an off switch? Do they have the ability to flick it off if they decide they don't like what she's doing? Is there a possibility that all the hackers that we've been introduced into this show could develop some sort of remote device that could shut her off or power off this artificial heart? And even if none of that comes to fruition, it still almost feels like it's destined to not work out to the finish line. And honestly, if they go the road of like a heart transfer and like maybe like Takina gets like very badly wounded, she's not gonna make it, her artificial heart's not gonna make it, and she wants to switch it around, or maybe, you know, something like Takina's dying and she needs the heart, so Chisato wants to give it to her. There's a lot of ways that they could gut punch us with that plotline, or it could be a red herring. Maybe that's not going to be the big shocker of the show. Either way, I wasn't quite expecting it, especially given how high-tech this technology seemingly is. And the idea of her needing to find a mission to basically fulfill the price of getting it. And over the course of this episode, what seems to be an escort mission of taking this man who's in a wheelchair, he talks with a robotic-like voice, he has these weird goggles on. In hindsight, I probably should have saw it coming, but I totally believe that it was just a very rich old man who had this assassin that was basically trying to kill him. And then over the course of the episode, most likely the concept of, because, I mean, an assassin who you can't really predict or see where he is, I imagine the concept of will someone kill come up. And I imagine that someone like Takina wouldn't do it, given her new kind of found friendship and kind of bond with someone like Chisato. I just wasn't expecting this to just be an average dude who's been bedridden and was being controlled by being placed in a chair that's remote controlled and, you know, the hacker is talking over. It's one of those things of like, what is the point of trying to make this girl kill? Why are they going to that lengths? We know obviously who's responsible given the connection, the amulet that she wears. She's searching for that person. That person is seemingly not such a great guy and seemingly responsible for all the shit going on. But there's a big question of why, and the plot definitely thickened this episode in ways I wasn't quite expecting. I think what makes this show so great is that over 5 episodes, it's definitely invested me heavily into this world. There's a big mystery about it, and I think the way they cover up these agents, right? You can look at the president, right? He gives speeches on TV saying it was an accident, and it very much comes across as even he doesn't know exactly what's going on. And then when you get, I think it's around the midway point of the episode or a little before that, you have a couple of officers who go investigate the tunnel that is being covered up as an accident. All the bullets are basically collected except 1 or 2. And it's very much, it's a terrorism attack. But granted, ever since that tower that is now this big symbol of nothing bad's happening anymore, they cover everything up as accidents. But the idea of almost going with the flow because seemingly the threats get dealt with, the public just doesn't know about it. And I love the moment when he like sees Chisato and Takina across the street and they're saying hello. And the one guy's just like, you know what? At this point, as long as people like them get to smile and have a good life, I really don't care who's taking care of it because the job's getting done. It's very funny given the fact that they're part of the people who, the groups that deal with it, but, you know, that's just how easily they blend in. And it's crazy to see just how much of a cover-up goes on to keep this world in balance. But as we see, it's not really that much of a balance. It's this illusion of peace that doesn't actually exist. And on one hand, I think many people would like that, not knowing there's anything wrong and seemingly things get dealt with. But I mean, as we can see, people are starting to take advantage of that so-called peace. Look at the end of the episode when that girl gets hit by the car. That wasn't bad enough, almost sent to the isekai realm. She gets blasted. And it's just like, there's so much death in this show yet it doesn't feel hopeless. And I think only a select handful of shows get that right. You can look at stuff like May and Abyss that's currently airing in this season. It's a show full of despair, yet the characters keep it not completely depressing, and I think this show has a similar idea with how it goes about presenting death flags, bullets, death, blood. Hell, we saw our girl get shot in the leg this week. Maybe it's just a leg, but still, once you start seeing blood on a character, you're like, well, shit, this dude's a master-level assassin. How the hell are they going to deal with it? I'm very intrigued to see where they want to go for the finish line, because it obviously relates to the reunion with Chisato and this man. The thing is, now it seems like he wants her to kill, or people around him want her to kill. And if that's the case, is there going to come a point where she has to point that gun at Takina for one reason or another? Obviously, she wouldn't willingly do it, but when you say artificial heart, you gotta wonder if there's other programming things that could go on to force her to do things she doesn't want to, or at the very least, threaten to turn off that heart that keeps her alive. I'm worried, I have to admit, and this show gets me more worried the more I watch, because you can clearly tell the bond between these two girls is genuine, and they very much have a deep emotional connection. If anything was to get in between them, I'm worried about what that would look like for their emotional psyche. But what an episode, man. I wasn't expecting to once again say another episode made me more interested than the previous one. And honestly, when you look at the first couple episodes of this show, I think most of the people who watched it when it was initially being released were like, damn, this is an intriguing world. But between 3 through 5, I like it. I like it a lot. This is a fascinating world that is surprisingly action-packed. I honestly thought we'd have at least a couple episodes worth out of 5 or 6 that would be very much just simple downtime, no gunplay, no action, but there's always been something exciting alongside the setup in every episode. Yes, some episodes are more action-packed than others, but it almost feels like every episode has something to keep you excited. And for having an assassin that is swift as a cat, you can't hear him coming, I thought it was brilliant how they got the tracker on. She just looks like a flailing woman, and she smacks him upside the head, which is really a tracker, but him being the professional he is, took off the coat to make it look like a decoy. Obviously, for a viewer watching, it was pretty obvious what he did, but it's understandable how Takina got blindsided, given that he shouldn't have known the tracker was there. But it was just cool to see the level of tactics that was going on, and the way the lie caught us off guard, or at least it caught me off guard. This man killed my family, he's responsible, you have to kill. And the fact that it was just a normal dude who was responsible for nothing, and so-called assassin wasn't even there 20 years ago, right? It's crazy to see how they're really trying to force the hand of someone who is so skilled, who probably could kill easily, but refuses to do so, but someone's trying to make her pull that trigger, and I don't know why, but I'm excited, if not terrified, to see why. Either way, this show continues to get better with every episode, and I doubt that's going to slow down anytime soon, but thoughts down below, theories if you got any on this pretty crazy episode. Leave a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.